on. Bam, we're live. Jeffrey, hi. Caleb, uh-oh. Caleb, hi. No. Caleb, hi. No. That's the guy in the back end. He wants to come on the show so bad, he keeps clicking the button to try to come on. See? And then I just click him off. I'm like, no, dude, you stay back there. Hi, Jeffrey.
Hi.
Jeffrey again?
I mean, everywhere I search for him, he's a Jeffrey. And then you guys are telling me it's Jeff. I'm like, but I know how to read. I know how to read.
Everybody calls me Jeff, but Jeffrey's fine if you want to use that.
Sevan's just practicing for the time in the future where he's in a live setting with you, and he says Jeffrey. You're gonna know for sure who it is.
Yeah. Jeffrey, can I sit with you? I imagine it being in a breakfast hall somewhere. I don't care what anyone says about this, and I'll fight you for it, or I'll fight your mom for it. Winning the Open is as big as winning the games. I don't give a fuck what you say. Don't be like, oh, you can do the workouts as many times as you want. How about you fuck off?
I disagree,
how about you look at who? How about you look at who won the Open in 2021? Tia Toomey.
Yeah, she went and also won the games after that.
Yeah,
I didn't. So
it's okay. It's crazy. It's crazy that you won the Open. It is nuts. Hey, it's even more credit because you can do the workout more than once. Like when people are like, well, you could do the workout more than once. Well, yeah, that's why it's even harder.
But I didn't do them twice.
See, even better. Who wants to fight? Go ahead. Someone say something in the comments. I'll fucking ban you for life. Send you back over to Talking Elite Fitness forever. Don't worry, Brian goes over there. You can still see your favorite guy.
Are your socks on now? Are you ready?
I'm pretty pumped up. It's just crazy. It's just so awesome that you did that. I mean, people. I think most people agree with me. I think like people take 20,000 in the Open and are stoked.
Guys, I was 35,000th one year in the Open. I was pretty pumped about it, but it's more about just being able to execute the workouts well or better than I did last year, and feeling like I could understand them better.
I'm not putting a jacket on.
Unless you're an athlete that wants to go somewhere, the Open is just there to compare yourself with your past self. Like that's the main reason for it. But for athletes, like top athletes that want to move to the next stage, then yeah, you want to perform your best. But since the Open is now top 10%, I think it changed a little bit. It's like, well, I'll just do the Open, whatever, and move on. Like the most important part is after the Open, it's not the Open anymore. So.
But people see your scores and in the Open, other athletes, and then they know that if they see you in competition, they're not beating you. They know. Sevan, I respectfully disagree with you. I understand. But you smoke also. I quit smoking in my 30s. Did you ever smoke cigarettes, Jeff?
No.
Never?
Never.
Did you go to college?
I did not.
Oh, well, no wonder you didn't smoke. That's where you learn how to smoke. That's where you smoke weed. That's where you have unprotected sex, and that's where you do psychedelics.
So I didn't miss anything then.
No, and your parents get to waste a shitload of money.
Well, it depends. I'm from Canada. It's not the same.
Oh, right. Well, they pay it some other way in taxes. Tell me about Dubai. How was that?
It was good. Dubai is always a nice competition.
How many times have you been out there now?
This year was the third. So I was there in 2018, 2019, and then again 2021. I did improve a little bit every time. Still, the podium eludes me again, but it was nice. It's always nice, Dubai. I like the competition. I like the venue. It's an easy venue to compete at because the hotel is like in the same court as the tennis court. It's like right behind. You can walk to, like, between events, I would go back to the room, chill, and then come back. I'm not disappointed of my performance. A little bit. I'm disappointed of one event actually, but yeah, the last day was hard. It seems like Dubai, the last day is always the day that I crash and lose my spots. So that happened again this year.
Was it the Echo Bike Toes Bar workout?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I don't know what platform it was on, or if it was just a private conversation, but I was looking back at the results afterwards, and I'm like, man, I'm just really surprised. Like, Jeff's so good at so many things. This isn't the workout I thought would have got him.
No, the Echo Bike is still something that I really do not enjoy doing. And I mean, after the games, like at the games, one of the worst workouts I've done was the 2159 Echo Bike and snatches. And after that, I was like, because I've never been a good sprinter. Those 2159s with like a machine and any other movement is not my strong suit. So we've worked on that since the games, between games and Rogue, because we knew Rogue would have an Echo Bike somewhere. But at Rogue, I was lucky it was paired with thrusters, and I can do thrusters in my sleep, so that's not an issue. And the rep scheme was different. When I saw the 2159 come up, I was like, oh no.
Wait, that was the athlete's choice, right?
Yes, stupid choice. Why? I don't know.
No, because we
But
talked to
you know what? Like everything they had. So they picked two athletes, one woman and one man for A and B or whatever. And they gave us 8 choices, and you had to choose. We couldn't choose both the same, so we couldn't do like the 2159 bike and then do again the 2159 bike. We had to choose something else. And everything that was on the list, I was like, it was all short, and most of these workouts had a machine again in it. Like we've done all the machines. We rode twice in that competition. I'm like, well, just at that point, put the runner in, and we'll do all the machines. Like it was just so many machines. And then yeah, that 2159, I was like, I was excited to test it and see how I'd improved, and well, I did not. So I guess I'll have to work on that a little bit more. I actually lost the podium on that specific event. Like I finished that 2159. I wasn't even at the row and burpee yet. And I was like, I just lost the podium. Like that was so bad.
Because the 3 guys that you were contending with all placed
They all
top 4 on
smashed it.
that workout. Yeah.
Brian, is there truth to what he's saying? I'm translating to what he's saying is that short time domain workouts aren't his cup of tea, that he prefers stuff longer than 3 minutes. Is he?
Well,
is that true?
if it's very short, like a 1 rep max clean and jerk, you like it.
No, so that's the thing. Like, let's say we take Dubai, the workout with the bike erg, handstand walk, and overhead squats was technically a sprinting event, and I finished 3rd, 4th on that event. Like I did the whole 5 rounds, and I was surprised at myself. I'm like, wow, I can sprint. Like I was happy I could sprint, and that made me like happy for a bit. But yeah, I don't know. It's the Echo Bike, the stupid Echo Bike. I don't know. I just can't do it. It just won't go. I was beside Roman, like he was right next to me, and I was at 12. So on the 21 cals, I was at 12 calories. And he got off the bike. And at that moment, I was like, oh, no. That was either a huge mistake from his part or a huge mistake of mine. And it turned out it was mine. But
this happened to me one time, too, except the guy next to me was Matt Fraser.
Oof.
I was in Granite Games this past year doing his, he was doing it with a bunch of fans. And it was an EMOM. And I just got in the back of one line. And he's like, briefing the whole crew. And then he just gets in the back of the line right next to me. And I'm like, oh, no. And we get on the first ski erg, and it's 15 cals, and I'm on 7, and he's moving forward. I'm like, what the heck? This is 40 minutes long. He's like, no problem, bro. I was like, and he just kept the same pace the whole time. But Roman's the best in the world on the machines.
Yeah,
that's true. He is. He sits on the top of that mountain.
He won I think he won the 1,000-meter row.
But I think he's pretty much there at the top, like top 3.
What was he like? Do you even get to talk to him, Jeff? Or
I wish we could, but his English is really difficult. Like I wish we could talk to him, that he could be interviewed more. Like I would like to have him be more, have more media around him, but it's so difficult because of the language barrier. He looks like a very chill dude. He's like he's very quiet, and then he gets on the bike and smashes you. It's like you just don't see it coming. Like it's so weird. He's a really fit individual, that's for sure.
We kept hearing that he's put on 20 pounds since his last competition. Could you see
He's
that when
huge.
he's huge? Okay, his back looks
huge.
giant.
It's surprising to see him because I haven't seen him in, well, actually Dubai 2019, I guess, and he is big, like scary big. We were like, oh, Roman's gonna be slow. No.
Is your wife your coach?
She is.
Is that your wife or your girlfriend?
Fiance for now.
Fiance for now. Okay. How is that? So this morning this morning I wake up. I need no external shit for my own happiness. I have no tattoos. I have no piercings. I don't have a Prince Albert. I'm like good to go. I've cracked the code on happiness, but I have a wife. And so our shit's all twisted up, right? If she's in a bad mood, I'm in a bad mood. If she's mad at me, it's like, God, I'm going to get in trouble with this. It's like when I was in high school, I couldn't leave the house and enjoy partying, or I couldn't have a good day at school if my mom was mad at me. I just couldn't. I just needed to know that one person was okay with me. So my wife is still my one weakness. And this morning I woke up and she 6 a.m. and I'm getting ready and she goes, "Hey, good luck today. I love you." And she gives me a kiss. I'm like, oh, this is going to be a good podcast. This is going to be a good one. And you have your wife there at the events, or your fiance. And I'm tripping on that because don't your moods, isn't that the one person you can't separate yourself from? Like even the Morning Chalk Up did a piece on you in Dubai in 2019. And she says something to you about you didn't go hard enough on something, and you snap at it. Man, maybe snap's not right, but you go, next time you do the swim. And I'm like, oh. That's why you can't.
I sometimes say that. She's like, oh, go faster on the eco bike. I'm like, you go faster on the eco bike. Like, tell me how it works and I'll do it. Like, our chemistry is really good.
It is good. You like it. It's fine. It's fine for you.
It works well. And I think she puts a lot of effort on trying to keep me in a good mood and perform well. So like our lives are revolving around CrossFit, around competing. So the goal is for me to perform as much as I can, and she's in it as much as I am. So we're working together to get where we want to go. That's the way to do it. There's no other way.
I mean, because you guys can't get into it can't be the CrossFit Games the night before the last day, and you guys get in a fight about someone leaving the toothpaste cap off the toothpaste in your hotel room. Like that just can't, right?
Well, it never happens anyway. So
okay, shit. All right, good. All right,
it's not gonna happen. Like no, I don't see why something wouldn't work the day before the games. Like the goal is to perform. We're just gonna do.
She's like,
do what we have to do.
She's like, hey, at the award ceremony, I better never see you sit that close to Danielle Brandon again. Like none of that. Like you can't have any of that, right? It's got to just be like, she has to push that.
One day.
She has to push that down and then tell you like a month later. All right, I'm always amazed at how athletes do that, because relationships are delicate, and especially someone like you. Who's performing at the highest level, I would think. I think the analogy works perfectly. It's like a Formula One race car. It can go 200 miles an hour, but if it hits a pothole, it's done, right?
Yeah.
So I just picture you. Go ahead.
Well, both champions like that won the most are in a relationship. Tia's with Shane and Matt was with Sammy. So I mean, and these guys have won because I think the team that's around you is what it's going to make it work. Like you can't do that much. You can't win that much alone. It is not possible. I don't think so. And I mean, we've heard it now since Matt has retired, like how much Sammy did like work so hard around him, food, cleaning, like he had to train and sleep and eat, and that's it. And that's what made him that good. Like, yes, physically he's good, but all of that help around him was what helped him win by so much. And I think Tia's the same. Like she has Shane's there. Shane is working as hard as her, not doing CrossFit, but doing everything else. And it seems to work very good. So why not us?
Yeah. Hey, those are two. I mean, those examples can't be beat. It was very clear. Those relationships look like solid as shit. I mean, I know we're only looking through the lens of social media and media, but yeah, those look like teams.
Teams, yes.
Yeah, Sammy's definitely not just on the sideline cheering him on, and Shane's definitely just not on the sideline cheering Tia on. Like I think Caroline just said in the comments, it really is two horses pulling one cart. That's so apropos. It's like she nailed it. Okay, man, I'm impressed. I'm impressed. Are your parents together?
They are. They've been married for a long time now, 29 years.
You do you think you know you learned how to have a strong relationship from them? Is that where you get it?
Probably, I guess. Like I think I've seen in my whole life my parents fight once, maybe. So,
And where do you meet a Caroline at? Where does someone meet a Shane or a Caroline or a Sammy?
I don't know how these guys met, but we met in a gym. Actually, I met Kat. Oh, she was my coach. She was coaching at the box, and
Oh, I love.
and you know what? The start of our relationship was not so good. I did not like Caro at all.
Wait, what
she
do you
was
call
hard
her?
on me.
What do you call her?
Caroline.
Cow. Okay.
Not bad, Savan.
Now I know why she likes you. By the way, I thought it was just your body, but it's how you say her name. Go on.
No, but
Caro.
so yeah, I actually skipped her classes. Like when she was coaching, I was either very far in the opposite corner or just going into open gym. But I think I was a little bit cocky then. Like I was starting CrossFit, I was okay, like good, okay, and trying to do my own stuff my own way, and she wouldn't let me. So it wasn't. I didn't like her that much at the beginning, but the more time we spent together, the better it was. So we ended up together.
I remember her being in the media pit when I was allowed in the media pit, and she's very forward.
Yes,
She's very sure of herself.
she knows where she's going, and when she has something in mind, she's going for it. And there's not many people that can stop her doing it. So, but I mean, that's what we want in life. We want to aim for something, and we're both going for it as hard as we can. So,
Yeah. There's some people out there who go to the CrossFit Games who just don't seem like they can win the games, and I hate saying that. That's something that only Brian should say. But but you can win the games.
I can.
Yeah. Like you can taste it, huh?
I did.
Yeah. Tell me
bit.
about that. Well, tell me. What do you mean you did?
Well, these past two competitions, Rogue and Dubai, because my games performance was not good. And after the games, I had a brief period of, am I good enough to compete for the top spots at the games or not? Because 2020, I think, was a little bit of an outlier. So 2021 was for me like to prove that performance was valid, and it didn't happen. And I think Rogue and Dubai, even if Dubai wasn't perfect, I think those two competitions validate the fact that, one, my 2020 games performance was good, and my 2021 was just I just was too sick to perform. Something happened. I was just not top performance wise. So I'm happy I touched the podium at Rogue. That was basically the men's field at the games minus like three or four. So I was happy to be able to achieve that, and then going to Dubai, like just building confidence that I can push for the top spots, and then hopefully this will carry on in the next season, and I'll bring that good experience at the games, and hopefully make a pretty good move then.
And it's good people you're with up there, man. Vellner and Medeiros. I mean,
yeah, I was happy to put him with Vellner actually, because I remember taking a picture, and I have that picture still of me in 2016 when the games was in Carson, and I took a picture after the event. I was volunteering back then. as like this big. Took a picture with Pat, and now this year my picture with Pat is on a podium at Rogue. Like it's pretty awesome to think that in just a few short years, like I'm able to actually compete with these guys and follow them, not beat them yet, but at least being there. And I mean, hopefully one day I can go on the podium on a higher step than Pat, hopefully. But he's
Wow,
gonna make
good
me work
find,
for it, that's for
Caleb.
sure.
Great find, Caleb. How old are you now, Jeff?
I'm 27,
And how tall are you?
5'9",
And how much do you weigh?
196, 7.
And is that good for you?
Yeah. Peak weight is like 198, 199, just flirting with the 200. And then training weight is 96, 95, 96, a little bit lighter.
And how long have you been doing CrossFit?
6 years now.
So since you're 20, and what sports did you play before CrossFit?
Nothing.
Nothing. You didn't ice skate?
Played hockey a bit,
Hockey.
but
That's what you guys call it in Canada. We call it ice skating. You guys call it hockey. That's awesome. You guys are allowed to push each other down.
a little bit.
Carry a stick while you ice skate. And that's it. So were you gifted athlete as a kid?
Yes, no. Like I played. I like to play sports. I was in high school. I was in sports as well, like sports concentration, where we did more d'éducation physique. I don't have the English.
Physical education.
Physical education.
We have a very
anything else.
smart crowd, by the way. If you want to just say,
just turned 25.
if you want to say
25,
words in
26.
French, you can. Our crowd is bilingual.
Yeah.
So you were into physical activity, but nothing specific. You weren't a standout anywhere. You weren't like a great gymnast.
No.
You weren't the strongest. You didn't win the arm wrestling contest at your high school. Yeah, and you don't have any tattoos.
I don't.
Maybe you don't have the pathology to win the games. Like I interviewed this guy yesterday. He's the greatest bullfighter who's ever lived. He's 35 years old. And like you could tell like he's trying to prove something to God. Like that's what I would say after the interview. Like he sees God as his daddy and he's trying to prove something to God. Like, hey, you didn't fuck up by giving me a chance on the planet. Or you get someone like Rich Froning who had very two close relatives as a kid, die in car accidents. But maybe you just like you don't have any tattoos. You're not acting out. You never smoked a cigarette. Like can a squeaky clean guy win the games?
I'll try to prove it to you.
Yeah.
Ben Smith.
Ben Smith. Yes.
There we go.
He's like the Canadian Ben Smith. Actually, I never thought of that analogy before, but I kind of like it. I feel like you guys both came up kind of like naturally, like you weren't like amazing when you first started necessarily. You had to like earn it. He obviously started years before when CrossFit was in a different place than it was when you started, but I kind of like that.
Is this a valid question, Jeff? Brian, Jeff, why didn't you try 368 pounds at the Rogue Invitation and go for first rather than 360 when you already secured second? Still want to know that. If it's for injury, why do a third lift at all?
I had that question asked to me a few times actually. The first, I didn't have time to think about that because Guy went for his third. Well, did not do his third lift. I had Lazar, and then I was next. So that's 20 seconds of time between thinking and lifting. And I did hurt an elbow on the first workout on the rope climbs, those stupid 30-pound rope climbs. Before at the warm up, I couldn't front rack a barbell, and 360 was scary on my elbows. So I was like, I was the last lifter to go, and I didn't want to just bow down and not do the lift. I'd rather do my 3 lifts, even if I knew that the second place was secured. And I was happy to do 360, Not many can do 360 for 2 clean and jerks. So I was pretty happy with that. But yes, I could have tried 368, but it would have been a huge risk and most likely a fail. And I did not want to fail. So I went for 360.
But you didn't have to do the lift at all, right?
Nope. And I knew that. So the only one that put 355 on his bar was Saxon Penchik. He was in the first row in the middle. So I saw him at 355 and I was like, oh, I'm going to be tied for second. And then I thought the tiebreak was the first bar and I had him on the first bar. So I knew then that I was second already. So I just made the decision to do my third lift at 360.
What do you think, Brian? Should he have not even done that lift?
I'm not going to question his decision in the moment. I am curious how you liked the format of that compared to the format of the lifting event in Dubai.
It's much better, the Rogue one. Dubai was, you know what? I can clean and jerk in my sleep, and I have no issues clean and jerking 365 at any time in the year. And that event was the most stressful event of a lift perspective that I've done ever. Because they had the 50% minimum work requirement. So if you failed both lifts, you were out of the competition, which makes no sense on the lifting event. Like if you want me to take a risk on higher weights, you have to give me the chance to do it. And 2 lifts was not enough. And I could have done 170. I could have done it, but with the third lift, not 2. I can't do it with 2. And that's the reason why I did 155, which I think is 342 for my first lift. And 342 is like not a big deal for a clean and jerk for me. So no, the Dubai clean and jerk event, I did not enjoy that at all.
Man, I mean, watching it was also one of the most stressful things for me because I was like, some of the, it wasn't like everyone lifted once and they're like, okay, we're done with round 1. Like some of the guys didn't lift until people had already done 2 lifts or everyone lifted white or whatever. I wasn't sure how much time. I think you guys had bars you could actually be using in the meantime.
And we asked for these because at the briefing, there was no warm-up bars. And we said, like, how would you want us to clean and jerk 370 pounds from 0 to 350? Like that's like you go from the warm-up area to the floor, it's 15 minutes. And then we had to wait for every bar to pass. And then once like the guys started lifting around 140, 135, 140. So every lifter would go and then it's even more time. So let's say for me that I want to start at 155, 160, I had to wait an extra 15 minutes. That's 30 minutes between the last lift and the lift on the floor. And then you give me the stress of if you miss both, you're out. I'm like, well, I can't do that. Like it's not possible. It doesn't work. So we asked for warm-up bars. They gave us warm-up bars. We also asked for a third lift, but that we didn't have. We didn't get the third lift.
You guys did ask for a third lift?
Yeah, I did.
I also partitioned them to get a third lift in there just because, people like to see heavy weights being lifted.
Yeah, there you go. Like, what do you want? You want a heavy lift or you want to stretch out the athletes? Like, clearly.
Bill Grundler said it well on their review of the programming. He said that was not a strength test. It ended up being a strategy test.
Yeah.
And that's not, there's times that strategy is obviously relevant, but if you're going to have 7-8 events and one of them is a strength test, then give the opportunity for the athletes to show their strength.
Well, Tola, Branislav, and I were like, what do you guys want to do? Because we're just going to stop. Like, if you wanted to push, like for me, Tola and Branislav to actually battle it, even 3 lifts would have been, like we could have gone 4 lifts to try and hit that 175 maybe. But with 2 lifts, it's like, well, where do you guys want to tie? Like, we'll just stop there. So
why are you so good at those lifts? Why are you so good at the Olympic lifts?
I'm not good at the Olympic lifts. I'm good at the clean and jerk.
Okay.
So let's be clear on that. I'm good at the clean and jerk. The snatch is such a stupid movement. I hate snatching. I I think right now my 1RM snatch is like 255. Like it's just stupid. I don't know. The clean and jerk, I don't have to think. It just goes. And I think that's why I'm good at it. So.
Oh, and why don't you like the snatch? How is it so different? I mean, you have an incredible press. I was looking. You have a 207-pound press. That's nuts. You would think that anything overhead is great for you. You would love it.
No. Well, I wouldn't
No.
say 207 is a great press.
It's not. Brian, is it a great press?
100 pounds more than I can do.
It's a good press. It's not a great press. Like if I could press 215, 220, that would be nice. But that's not the issue. The snatch is just more technical. It gets in my head a little bit more. We've had some issues with shoulders and elbows and wrists in the past. And so we had to change the technique a little bit. Every time you change the technique, you have to learn it again. So it's just a pain to figure it out. Like it just doesn't work. Yeah, that's weak. That's very weak. Thank you.
There you go. There she is. So
you weak.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing with the snatch. This is how I think about the snatch. The clean and jerk is stressful at max weight because it's not one and done. You get to the 50-yard line. You're like, oh shit! Now it's on my shoulders. Now I got to get it overhead. But the snatch is one and done, right?
Yeah, but the chances of missing is just greater.
Okay.
For me personally, I know like athletes that there is some athletes that just prefer snatching, and they'll like I know Tola loves to snatch, and he can snatch 315, 320, and he's gonna clean and jerk 360. I can clean and jerk 360. I can't snatch 320. Like that's the issue. Like my clean and jerk is here, and my snatch is like down there. Like it's just there's such a big space in between, which I want to get closer, but I don't know. Maybe I'll never have a great snatch, and that doesn't matter. Like as long as I can do good enough, I'm gonna be okay with that. Like if it's the top 5 on the snatch, I'm gonna be good with that. Because with the past year and a half, like what I've learned is not how strong you are that'll get you to the podium at the games, is how fit you are. Like you have to be able to run fast, swim fast, and CrossFit fast, but you also have to lift heavy enough. You don't have to win the heavy lift. So right. I'm not looking to win the heavy lift. Top 5, top 3 is fine for me. If I can get also top 3 on the chipper and then top 3 on the sprint, that's what I want. I can get that, Brian. You think that?
No, John Young and I did an collaborative article for Morning Chalk Up about this. And we kind of said, you only need to be about 90%, 92% of the heaviest lifter at the games to be like, a factor or strong enough, like you say. So, and you're not that far off on the snatch, and obviously in the clean and jerk, you're above that. So,
yeah.
Are you running this winter?
Well, I'm actually right now in Florida, so yes, I will be running.
You guys spend a lot of time down there.
Yeah, so I did spend between games and Rogue. I spent like the 3 months here. Now I wasn't supposed to be here this winter, but something happened here with my parents, so I had to be here for the winter. For the winter. For now, it's the full month of January. I don't know if I'm going to be here longer or not, but even if I'm in Montreal, like I'll run at least 2 times a week, just running on the runner. I know Caro wants me to run outside, but in the winter, I'm just not doing it.
In Canada, you want to, but in Florida, you will.
In Florida, I'll do it any day. I don't mind, but in the winter, I just hate it.
And you guys are staying down there through January?
Yeah, for now.
Will you guys be in Miami?
Caro will be because she has an athlete there.
Benoit?
Exact. Yeah, he finished 10th in the qualifier, so he was pretty excited to be elite. She's been working with him for 6 months now, 8 months. He's getting pretty good.
Yeah, I'm pretty pumped to see him. He's only 21 years old, I think, right?
Yeah. So she's going to be there for sure. I am going to be there. I just don't know how long. Am I going to be there for the full weekend? I'm not sure yet. But yeah, I might be doing some stuff there.
Well, what do you mean you might be doing some stuff there? What's that mean?
I'm in contact with Wodapalooza. I think they like if I'm gonna be there, I might as well do something. Like I don't know what's possible yet, but I'll be there for sure.
Right. Like setting up weights and shit.
I will not be setting up weights. No way. I've done that in the past. I'm not doing that again.
Maybe a round of disc golf.
Yeah, why not? Why not? Let's do that. I'm down for that.
Do you play that?
I do not.
Yeah, it's bad for your health. Don't do it. So you're in. You're a games caliber, podium finishing athlete, and yet something happened in your life that made it so you had to switch your camp from Canada to Florida for 3 months. Does that affect your training?
As of right now, no, because we're just easing back into it. We're at 1 session a day, 2 hours max. So I'm just doing 1 session for the next few weeks. It's going to be easy training. But after that, I'm not sure. Not sure what the winter will look like. I mean, I have to get ready for semis actually, which are in June. I'm gonna try and pass through the Open without being stressed, because I don't think it's necessary to stress about the Open anymore. So I'll try to go through that easy and then really focus on being ready for semis.
I like the way you say try to go through it.
So you guys, I was kind of curious here with the new structure of the format, because you just, I mean, in your explanation there, you just bypassed the quarterfinals. Do you kind of think of the semis or the Open and quarterfinals as like almost one competition?
Yeah, well, yeah, pretty much. I wish they would be closer together. Like that week in between, if they do the week in between again, that week sucks. Like it's just I'd rather just do, I don't know, 5 week Open and you can qualify for the last 2 weeks, like something like that.
Oh, that would be cool.
I'd rather do something like that than have 3 weeks and then 1 week off where you want to train, but you're not going to train too much because you want to be ready for the quarters. Like it's just a weird week. I'd rather just keep on going. But yeah.
How long would you have to spend in Florida before your semifinals wouldn't be a Canadian semifinals?
Actually, right now I can't stay until semis because I can't stay in the US for more than 6 months. So I'll have to go back eventually, but I can also do back and forths. So I don't know. That's far away.
Do you like Florida?
I love Florida.
It's so different than Canada, right?
It's different than anywhere else in the world. Like
yeah, good
Florida
point.
Is special.
Very good point. And where in Florida are you?
I'm in Sanford, which is 30 minutes away from Orlando, 40 minutes away.
And do you just get up in the morning, put on shorts, and that's it? Like you never have your shirt on. It's always warm. It's always nice. It's even if it's raining, it's warm water.
It hasn't rained yet. It's but it in the morning it's pretty chill. It's not that warm. It gets warm in the afternoon, but at this time of year, it's around 15 degrees in the morning. So that's 65-ish.
That's like a hot summer day in Canada.
No, that's no, it's hot in Canada. It's hotter than you think in the summer.
God, I would think if you were going to spend time in Florida, you'd go closer to the water and you would just be at the beach every single day.
Oh, I don't particularly enjoy sand. So, okay. That's I'm good. I can go to the beach once in a while, but not every day. No.
And your parents have retired in Florida?
No. My dad works here.
Oh, okay.
They're permanently in Florida.
Oh, okay. But they're not. So you're in Canada all by yourself?
Well, I'm with Caro, so I'm not by myself.
Your parents had you in Canada and then left for Florida?
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. So you're going to end up there?
I don't know. Maybe.
And do you train with any other games caliber athletes?
No, not here. I have some people that train with me here. We have like the gym is 5 minutes away from the house. So, but I do have some people that train with me. I think the games people that are closest to me would be Noah, and I think Travis I'm like right in between, I think.
What do you mean right in between? You mean where they live?
Yeah, so I'm 3 hours away from Noah, and I'm approximately 3 to 5 hours from Travis. I don't know. Maybe I'm mistaken. Not sure.
Okay, so when you said closest, you meant I was thinking in terms of friendship. You mean in terms of just
Of
distance?
In
Have you
terms
trained
of-
with Have you trained with either of them?
No.
If you, I mean, you should go train with Travis, clean and jerk together. One of you
should.
will get injured for sure.
Yeah, probably. No, I've seen Travis a few times in competition. He's a really cool guy. I would be glad to train with him. He seems like a very good training partner. It's just, I don't know. It's just far enough, and that it's, yeah.
Who was your coach before Carolyn?
It's been Caro from the start.
Wow. Have you ever considered switching coaches? Like, sorry, Carolyn, I'm going to Mayhem.
Every year. So every year, but
That's not the answer I expected.
It's not even. I don't even bring that up. She brings it up because the goal is to perform, and if you don't perform, you have to make changes. So what can you change? And every year after the games, we reassess. She's like, "Are you happy with your performance? Do you think we keep going together? What do you want to change? What do you want to do?" And I think that's a big part of why it worked for as long as it did, and why I think it's going to work for even longer, is that every year we reassess and we do it. And she's just messing with me on the chat. We reassess and then we work from there. So, and it's been working well. I don't think that changing coach every season is a good idea.
Right.
You have to let the coaches do their job, and sometimes it can take a little bit longer. And I know athletes are not patient people. You want to be good right away. You want to be able to do stuff right away, and it doesn't work like that. Even for myself, like if I take the snatch, like I want to snatch 300 pounds tomorrow, but it's just not happening. You just have to let time go. Sometimes I see switches, like athletes switching. I'm like, well, just pick already. Like pick someone, work with them, put 100% effort in it. And then if it really doesn't work, then switch. But I don't know.
I think that's an incredibly insightful comment, is that athletes tend to not be patient. And if anything from studying this sport, what I've learned is that you have to be, like and it's a day-to-day thing. I mention this all the time. Brent Fikowski talked about it sometime this year. He's like, if I'm feeling something at the end of a long training day and I have one more session left, sometimes I just skip it, because I know that if I can string together an entire year where I don't have any setbacks, or I have to take a week or 2 or 3 off because I overdid it in one session, that as a total product, that year is going to be better for me.
Yeah.
Jeff, where are you most confident in your movements? Like what of the 15 workouts that pop up at the games, where are you? And maybe it's not even a workout. Maybe you're like, hey, I'm best when I'm fresh, or I'm really a good finisher. I'm best on the last day. Where is Jeff? Where do you usually just shine?
Well, usually the strength events. But that's one thing that I think it's maybe me. Like I look at a workout and I'm like, oof, how good am I going to be at this workout? I'm not sure. I'll rip myself apart in the workout and see where I go. And that's one thing that I've been able to feel at Rogue and Dubai, is I was able to go in a workout, a chipper or a gymnastics heavy workout, and I'm not going to be good at that, but I'm going to try and then perform super well in that workout.
Hey, but I wanted to ask you about it, because at both, if I'm not mistaken, at both Rogue and Dubai, you actually placed third in the long chipper workout.
Yeah.
And I thought that was like,
that's
that must
amazing.
be something that feels really good for you.
Felt awesome to be able to be like on that at Rogue. It was with the muscle ups and the handstand push-ups. And I was ahead of Justin and Pat. I'm like, oh shit, like I'm beating Pat at a muscle up workout. And that was the main part of the workout. It was the muscle ups and the handstands. And then same thing in Dubai, it was a big chipper, and I was hanging out with Roman and Lazar, and I'm like, oh, like good. That's, for me, that's wow. But I'm not looking to be, oh, this workout, I'm going to smash this workout. But I like to surprise people, and I like to surprise myself. Like surprising myself was something that I liked a lot this year. So I'm going to try and keep doing it.
I can't remember how exactly he said it, but Chuck Carswell, who's a staple in the CrossFit community and arguably one of the best trainers in the world. He said something. Him and Nicole Carroll, I think, were having a conversation. I filmed it once. This is maybe 10 years ago, and they were talking about the importance of going to the games as a training piece. Like there's even if you don't win the games, even there's a level of training that occurs there that can't occur anywhere else. And Carolyn mentioned it in that piece that the Morning Chalk Up did on you in 2019. And I really liked the way she worded it. She was basically saying, and I'm paraphrasing, but the big disappointment of you getting cut from the 2019 games wasn't so much that you got cut or didn't get a chance to win, but that you didn't get the practice of the psychological component that the week offers.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that? Like what it's like being at the games or at these high level competitions, like the physical, mental training that happens there. That's not just competing. That mentally, you take with you from competition to competition.
So that's a hard thing to be able to prepare for. The games are mentally and emotionally the hardest thing ever. And those stupid cuts make it so stressful. As soon as the cuts were done, in 2021, and I was outside the cut. Like I was 26, 27. I was like, oh no, this is bad. And I finally luckily for me, the run and cleans just bumped me over in the just over the cut line. But as soon as the cuts were done, it's like the stress level went. It's like, okay, now I can enjoy the workouts. I can actually do the workouts and I can actually try to perform. Like it's so weird. And you can't, I did not feel that at Rogue. I did not feel that in Dubai because you're doing the full weekend. You're going there to do X number of events and that you're going to be able to perform on them fully. At the games, you're like, well, I don't know. Maybe Friday my games are going to be over. Maybe Saturday my games are going to be over. I don't know. So it's just that stressful part of the games. And for some, I don't know. I really don't enjoy that part. If the games could be like they were before, like 2018 and prior, where you would get to the games and compete at the games, that would be such a different vibe. Like, I wish it would come back.
Well, I think we should say, because some people would be very mad if we didn't. There were some cuts prior to 2019, but a majority of the athletes got to do a majority of the events for a majority of the years up until that point.
I don't know about these years. Like the years that they had cuts was like 2012, 2013. Like it was.
Yeah, but they were usually on the last day.
And
they weren't advertised. Like you didn't necessarily know about it. So you could still compete more freely.
But I mean, this year, like 2021, we got to the games and you're like, okay, well, there's a cut there and the cut there. Cool. If I paid $20,000 to come from Australia to compete and you're now telling me I might do 3 workouts, well, my decision would have been different probably if you would tell me like 2 months before. Like, I don't know. I don't like these. I don't like these cuts at all. If they're going to be there in the future and that's how the games are going to be, I'm going to deal with it. But I think no cuts would be really different, and I think the leaderboard would also be very different.
For sure. Speaking of leaderboards, this one's really hard for me to get my head wrapped around. I have nothing. This is not going to bring out the best side of me. How can you win the Open and be the fittest man on the planet from the Open and not be the fittest man in Canada? How the fuck does that mess work?
It's where you stand at the end of the season that makes you the fittest in your country, which I think makes sense.
But that's not how CrossFit builds it. They'll send out stuff to people and say you're the fittest and whatever because you placed highest in the Open.
Yeah, but if they didn't go to the games, then in that country, that's the highest placing in that country. That's why. So in Canada, well, you have Pat and Fikowski and many other athletes that'll get all the way to the end of the games and most likely podium. That's the end of the season for that country. I think it makes sense. I don't think the Open should crown the fittest in the country. I don't think so, unless the Open is the last. The
farthest in the season that everyone in this country
makes. The furthest in the season for that country. Then yes,
I see what you're saying. So if you would have done better than him at the games,
I would have been fittest in Canada.
So that placement supersedes the placement of the Open. And if you don't have anyone from your country go to the games, then
it's the step before. If it's semis, it's semis. I think if it's quarters, it's quarters, and then you're going to be crowned the fittest in your country wherever you end up in the season.
All right. I guess. Okay, I'll settle down. Do you win any money winning the Open?
Yes, I did.
How much is that? Can you tell us?
So that was the first year actually the Open was paid, and I'm pretty happy I won that one. It was 15,000 for first place.
They should make that 150,000. I'll talk to someone. I'll send some emails after this.
Take that $150,000 and spread it to the 21st to 40th at the games.
Very, very kind of you. Is this a true statement? When John Young says when Adler said someone has to beat me, he can't win everything in the games in 2020. Then he proceeded to. Oh wait, no, this isn't the one. No, hold on a second, not this one. There was a comment in here where basically you say, "I don't care who wins as long as it's not Matt Fraser."
So I didn't get a ton of shit for that, but I think for some people they didn't understand what was I saying. Like, he was winning all the events. Imagine being us four guys being destroyed in every workout. I was like, I don't care who wins the event. Please, someone beat Matt.
Yeah,
and I knew I couldn't beat him pretty much at anything. I was happy I could beat him on the total, and that was by 7 pounds, which is not much. But I was like, the run, like someone has to beat him on the run. I can't beat him on the run. I knew that, but someone please do it. Like,
yeah.
And he went on to win all the events, and that was crazy. That was crazy for us to see because it just showed how much fitter he was than us. That's just what it is. And I mean, we're all competing, and the goal was to give Matt the best competition that we could by challenging him in every workout. That was the goal of what I was saying. Like, let's challenge him and try to beat him. That's
right.
Like, we're competitors. I want to beat you,
right?
But I'm also realistic in the sense, like, I can't beat you on this workout. No, I can't. But maybe Justin can. Maybe Noah can, and maybe Sam can. So that was the my thinking behind that.
One of the best things about watching the CrossFit Games this year and every year is when it comes down to the last 5 or 6 workouts, last day or two, you start to realize that the guy who's in second place and in third place, not only do they have to beat the guy who's winning all the events, but they really could use some help from some other people to get in between them.
Yeah.
But that also, on the other hand, allows the champion to really shine. So even when Patrick would beat Justin would come in right behind him, it seemed like, and he just wouldn't let Pat make that space that Pat really needed.
I think at that point of the competition, what happens is like, and I lived that on the last event of Rogue, is you just have to follow someone. You have one guy or two max that you just have to follow. And you just stay a rep behind, a rep in front. Like, you just have to, and that you don't have to worry about the whole field. You just have to worry about one or two guys. And I think it just makes it easier to be one position apart and to be just following or just beating. And that's what happens, I think, on the last few events at the games or any competition, is that, like, if you want a podium or if you want to win, you just have to beat that person by one spot, and just, so you focus just on that.
As the competition goes on, I think I even talked to you about this at the games this year. Like, you start focusing on a group of guys. You're like, I know that at this point these 5 guys are out of touch, but these 5 guys, like, those are the ones I'm trying to pick off as I go.
Yeah.
Where will you compete next?
The Open.
And why not do Wodapalooza?
Just
tired. I just don't want to. I just can't. I don't. I'm no.
Yeah, I think that 2 of the 3, Rogue, Dubai, and Wodapalooza, is plenty for someone that's already up at the top of the sport.
I think there's a few that are doing the 3. I think I know Emily Rolfe is doing the 3. She's going to be at Wodapalooza. I don't remember. I don't know if in the guys there's some that are doing the 3, but the turnaround between Rogue and Dubai was very short. and this between Dubai and Wodapalooza, it's even shorter. I just don't want. I'm not in the right space mentally to just go in another competition. And nothing against Wodapalooza, but I've done that competition before, and it's a hard competition. It's going to be somewhere around 9, 10 events, maybe even more. I'm just not ready to fully go full gas in actually any workout at the moment. So
it's interesting you say that about Wodapalooza, because we did also hear that a lot about Dubai. We would be told that Dubai was basically just
destroyed,
a grind. Yeah.
That was different this year. It was really different this year.
I think you'll see the Wodapalooza program it's not too crazy this year either in terms of volume, especially volume per day. I feel like the competitions are starting to get a sense of that, you know, we want these athletes here and we have to give them a good test, but if we're beating them into the ground, then like that's a turnoff too.
Yeah.
As we get closer to it, do you feel like you're missing out at all? Like, are you like, maybe is there any party that's like, okay, maybe I will jump in?
No, not at all.
And it is interesting that you said that not only do you not want to compete right now at a competition, but even in your own training, it sounds like you've dialed it back a little bit.
Yeah, I'm going easy on my mind, easy on my body.
The secret to longevity, you can't stay in that ultra competitive mode for the whole year after year. It's impossible.
Jeff, do you know any CrossFit athletes, who do performance enhancing drugs? Have you ever?
No.
Have you ever seen anyone?
No.
Yeah, me neither. Have you, Brian?
No.
I don't think it's something that we are going to see. Like, if you are doing PEDs, like, it's not something you're going to advertise or talk about. But
I hear you, but part of me thinks that like the guys on the high school football team who did it at my high school, they all did it. You know what I mean? They talked to each other and they did it. You would just think every time I hear about it, it's always just like speculation. And I'm just so fucking tired of hearing people fucking speculate. Speaking of PEDs, how is Ricky in Dubai?
I mean, going in, and I know this is long. I have 2 minutes left, by the way.
Okay.
Just, but
That's
yeah,
what she said.
Going in Dubai, like I was open-minded about Ricky. I mean, he did his 4 years, and I think he's coming back, but he's a cool guy. Like he's just a guy. He's just an athlete. He's good. He's fit. As long as he's tested right now and not using anything, just bring it on. And
yeah,
my goal was to beat him this week, like on that weekend. I was like, I just got to beat you. I was close. I could have beaten him. Like, it's not impossible to beat him. And but yeah, I'm not happy he's back, but like, yeah, he's back. Let's do it now. Let's compete. Let's compete clean and see what you're worth and see what I'm worth against you.
How's his English? Is it better than Roman's?
Oh yeah, love it.
Like you said, assuming that he's clean and that he's competing clean, I like it because he's obviously another guy thrown into the mix. And one of the things I always liked about the games is that you get a bunch of different competitors from all over the world. And we haven't had very many Australian guys threatening for podium over the years. So to have one is, if you can do that is kind of cool to just round out the field a little bit globally.
Yeah.
Guys, Jeff told us before the show started that he's only going to be able to be on here for an hour, so we're going to let him go. But Jeff, we are going to bug you.
Yeah, sure. Anytime.
Are you going to be watching Wodapalooza?
I'm most likely going to be physically there. So.
Okay, cool. So we're probably going to try to send you some links throughout the week.
Yeah, sure.
And try to get you to pop on the podcast like we had Christoph and Patrick Vellner and others pop on in the past.
Yeah.
Low stress, but if you can, we'd love to get your feedback on the events as they go and help build our popularity.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay, great.
Cool.
All right, brother. Thank you.
Thank you.
See you, Jeff.
Ciao.
Oh, Jeff, one more question. What do you think about Colt Mertens? Someone actually wrote that in the comments. I would love to have seen that. 3. Oh, that was nice of him. In the private chat, he said 3 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That That
That's
hour
like what
went
I whisper
very
into my
fast.
wife's ear. I don't give her 3 minutes, but I whisper into her ear, you have 10 seconds. You have 10 seconds. Oh, what did you say?
That hour went quick.
It did.
You know, he's I remember even a couple years ago when he first started doing some of these podcasts and interviews and stuff. And he was, you know, he didn't have the same presence in front of the camera or you know, an interview that he has now, but he was great. Could have kept him for another hour, I think.
Oh, for sure. I always got the impression from that's the first time I've talked to him, but that he was squirrely, that he was combative. Like I've heard that he combative, squirrely, a contrarian, that he likes to like kind of like how I maybe a little bit more like Vellner. Although that's a little harsh to say that about Vellner. A little strong, not harsh, strong. No, yes, no comment.
You kind of just lost me with all of that.
You didn't hear that Adler was
Combative?
or just strong, opinionated, that he was going to be just a little bit more. No. Anyway, I like his attitude. When you interview him, he sounds like a champion.
Are you reading the comments right now?
No. Bring her on. Fellner's a libtard. Sevon, she's ready. Send the link. I'm ready. Oh, to come on. Yeah. Do you have another 20 minutes, Brian?
Sure.
I have another. I don't know how to send her the link. Do you have any, Caleb? Do you have any thoughts on that? How to send her a link? Oh, you're muted.
You just need her number.
Oh,
she's gonna call in.
Oh no, this is someone named John George calling in. Let's see. Hello, John.
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you guys doing?
If you're not what's his name, Adler's coach, I don't think you should be on the show. What are you doing?
I'm driving and I just got on and I missed the interview, but I have a question for you and Brian.
Okay, hold on. Okay, go ahead and ask it. I'm not listening though. How do I send Carolyn a private chat with this? Send her a link. I'm trying, guys. I don't know how.
Try to send it on IG.
Oh yeah. Good. Who came up with that? You got a raise.
Burpees.
Okay, go ahead. Ask the question. Ask Brian while I find a link to send to Carolyn.
All right. Hey, Brian, I got a question about the prize purses for some of these out of season events. So like the Dubai. Do you think these contests or these competitions can continue to attract the big name athletes if there's going to be such a huge disparity between, say, first and in that case even fifth? I mean, it was kind of crazy.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. I mean, there's big prize money at the top, like you said, and obviously that's alluring and appealing for the athletes. But yeah, you go down Morning Chalk released an article today that had the final payouts from Dubai, and after like 4 athletes, it drops all the way down to around, I think maybe $10,000 or something like that, $12,000 depending on event wins. But the athletes know what they're getting into for now. I think that it'll continue to evolve, and what I'm really hopeful is that there's something in the future where you recognize that if you're able to make it into the elite divisions at one of those competitions, that there's like a baseline that you walk away with, like kind of like how Rogue has. But for now, Wodapalooza is a good example. There's like 45 men in the elite division. Like that's a lot of men competing there, and there's a lot of different avenues that they could get there relative to a Rogue where it's only an invite. And that invite is, for the most part based on extremely impressive competition results. So I think there's still some evolution that has to happen there. And even though we're at the point where we want more athletes to be competitive in the sport, we still have to like keep in mind the big picture that it's fairly young in the sport as a whole. And there's a lot of, figuring it out again after what happened in 2018, 2019. So hopefully it just continues to improve.
It just seems like I didn't look at the Wodapalooza payout, but it just seems like, man, it's great if you're winning 50,000, but you drop down the, 4th, 5th place, and it's like $700. Like, come on, man, that's not even buying their food.
Sure. Yeah, and we highlighted. No, you're right on the money. And we highlighted this year. We've talked about it on the show too, that there were, guys who made the top 20 at the games that lost money on the game season because of the registration fees outweighed the total prize purse that they were able to pull in.
Right. Cool. All right. Appreciate you taking my call. You guys have a good day.
Word. Carolyn, you have the link in your DMs. No, this isn't a Garth. This is Garth Taylor Jiu-Jitsu. This is where my kids train. I have beard hair on me.
Seven, check this shirt out. Look at this disc golf Christmas shirt.
I know that is pretty cool. The coolest thing about disc golf is the basket. There she is. There she is. Look at Caleb just tossing her in the mix.
Golf Christmas shirt.
I know that is pretty cool. The coolest thing about disc golf is the basket.
Caroline, you're listening to the yeah, she's gonna turn that.
I need to
There she
unmute.
is. Look at Caleb just tossing her in the mix. Oh, Carolyn, you have to close the YouTube window and then we'll unmute you because we're getting crazy feedback. I think you have 2 windows open on your computer. It's okay. Very normal situation.
It's my
How's that
first
better?
time.
Yeah. Everyone has their first.
Happy you're mine.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is she not only bathes Jeffrey Adler and puts him in bed every night, but she coaches him and tells him what to lift, where to lift, and how often. Thanks for doing this.
Pleasure.
I asked Ben Berger. I asked Ben Berger on this question. I want to ask you this comment. This question: Who should just not bother? How do you know if you should even bother wanting to be a games athlete? Like, is Colton Mertens just too small at 5'4"? Like, should he just say, like, should he be a jockey instead of being 185? Should he? I mean, he might be too big for a jockey, even if he dropped to 115.
I think everybody should fully pursue what they want to. So if you want to see if you can be the best, then put 100% effort and try. And I don't think people should be afraid of failing. You're going to put your best foot forward and really try. I think eventually, yes, as an athlete or as you're working on any particular goal, you're going to realize what your upper limit is. But I think that's for most of us, because it's hard to put 100% effort into something. We are never as close to that upper limit as we truly should be.
And I guess when you mean, could you define 100% effort? I guess when you say that, it's also like not only putting 100% into something, but letting all the other shit fade away.
I mean, yeah, for CrossFit, like we focus on training a lot, and I'm happy in the last few years, like recovery has taken a little bit more space, but it is about your nutrition. It is about, your body work. It is about your sleep and everything that comes into it. And everybody is going to have a different protocol that's going to maximize their chances at doing and being their best. And I think that's a path that everybody kind of needs to figure out for themselves, but doing 100% of everything that needs to get done. That's 8 hours of sleep or more if you need more, right? Like that's just one example.
Is there what about people who are working? Can you go to the CrossFit Games? Can you be a successful athlete and have a full-time job also?
I don't think that it's for everybody, but I definitely think some people can do it. And we have seen it in the past. Griffith, what's her first name? She did it. Vellner was in school full-time, still working. I think Fikowski, one of his first years at the game, was doing it. I think eventually, and that's the thing, like once you get there, you're going to make the choices based on where you are at that time. So in order to make it to the games, I think some people can do both. It's just a question of structure. And if you're saying yes to a job and yes to training, then you're saying no to everything else. And that's fine because that's your goal. But then once you make it to the games, where do you want to be on that leaderboard? And I think that requires another set of questions, another, set of protocols.
I started when you were saying that, I was imagining in a hot air balloon and it's at like 10,000 feet and you really want to get to 11,000 feet. And so you have to start throwing shit off.
Yeah.
You got to take your shoes off, maybe your pants off.
But not your socks. You have to have those on.
Your teddy bear that you think you have to sleep with every night or you're not going to get a good night's sleep. And then I guess that brings me full circle to the person who's in the hot air balloon with you. and I think Jeff nailed it. You look at Sammy, you look at Shane. They cannot be. They have to make themselves what's that called? Not expendable. The opposite of expendable. Inexpendable.
Essential?
Essential. You have to make yourself like essential if you're going to be a mate. You can't even like, because you want to push this hot air balloon so high that you have to be basically helping blowing hot air into it instead of just sitting there and going along for the ride, right? I mean,
yeah.
And then you hear about these couples where the mate's like, I think Rich just talked quite openly about it, and I've heard other people where the mate's like, "Hey, enough is enough. I don't want you doing it anymore. Like I need you back at home." But your relationship's not like that with Jeff, right? Yours is like, "Hey, we're going higher."
I think.
Do you even talk about it? Sorry,
I don't mind talking about it. I think everybody needs to find the right relationship for them and for as an us. And so we, from the beginning, were very symbiotic. Like we started talking and we were talking multiple times a day, every day. But it came naturally. Like I was never, it's 3-day rule and like all these things. And like we didn't have to mess around with that. And it worked for us. And since that, we've spent every day practically I'm in Montreal, almost together. And that works for us. I think not every person in every relationship and every couple needs or wants that in order to be successful. So, as an athlete, that's, that's one category of persons. Some people will want to spend a lot of time with their significant other and some don't. Some people can be coached by their significant others and others can't or won't, or maybe that's just not the right person for that role. And that's perfectly fine. But for us, it works.
Do you work out with him?
Define with.
I mean, like, will you guys ever be? I mean, like, even like if you guys went to or did a hotel room workout, like, would you guys ever do a hotel room workout together or something like that?
Yeah, we train together.
Okay. Oh, why do you? When you say with, like, you'll go do a beach run and you'll sit on the beach and yell at him to go faster? That's working out with him.
Part of it, because I can only work out for I'll do one workout. I'm not doing his full day of programming. I do not have the time or desire to do that right now because we have the box. I'm running the box. I'm doing the programming. Like I have other tasks and I take my responsibility as a coach very seriously. And he takes his responsibilities as an athlete very seriously, meaning I need to put my time and energy into being the best coach that I can be for him and for my athletes. If I'm spending 6 hours of day training, that's not the most value for my time as a coach. So I do spend time with him because yes, I want to see him move. I want to see him react to certain stimulus. I want that input. But other than that, like I'm not trying to follow him on every workout. I'm perfectly fine with scaling workouts, things like that. I enjoy doing CrossFit. I like working out. I like taking a class. I'm not fit. Thank you. I'm not fit.
Hey, Stefan, do you know anyone who follows the CrossFit.com programming?
Who is just telling me that they do, I think Hobart follows it.
He writes it, so hopefully he follows it, right?
Yeah, I think.
But I don't know if he's followed it for years on end or anything like that.
I know my wife cherry picks it. I know she cherry picks it. I would follow it if I did anything besides assault bike. I just do assault bike.
I think that Caroline and Jeff have followed it, or at least some semblance of it, for quite a while.
Since 2016, we've been 3 on, 1 off.
Wow. What you mean at your gym?
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
not the programming for the gym. I do the programming for the gym just out of convenience, but Jeff's programming and training has integrated the .com since probably 2016.
The people who, I will tell you this, the people who do that programming take that shit like very, very seriously.
It's good programming.
Yeah, it's those people. Yeah, that's awesome to hear that. What's the name of your gym?
CrossFit Wonderland.
And you've had it since 2016?
17. So we
17?
affiliated, and that's, I was talking to Paul Tremblay about that. We affiliated in 2016, but we opened our doors in 2017. So February is. And
then this dude just walked in, Jeff Adler?
We met at another gym. So we started this gym together. We met in 2015. at another gym, which, as he was saying, he was not having it.
And you were a coach at that gym? And so this dude just walked in?
So he was already a member when I started, but he started maybe a month or two before me. Like, he was a newish member. And then I started working there, and me being me and very controlling, I was like, you're late. You're not doing the class. And he was like, fine. Just like stroll off into open gym and like go do his own stuff, or like wait for the next class and stuff like that. So the first few weeks we didn't really talk to each other.
Well, is that part of like, I have friends who, like, part of their courting process is being a dick to girls. Actually, they're not my friends anymore, but I used to see that as a method, like in college, like the dudes who were dicks would get all these hot chicks. Was that part of your courting process, or no? That's it. No, you weren't like, oh, this dude's cute, watch me step on his dick and he'll like me.
No, not at all.
No. All right.
No, I mean, I was new at the box. So there was definitely, like, I was trying to be a good coach and be a good employee. But at the same time, there's just certain things that I was like, well, the warm up is done. Like, if you start now, you're not warmed up. Like, this is not safe. This is not to your benefit to like hop into class right now. So there's things like that I've always kind of been very adamant about. But in general, I've always been very frank and direct with people. So.
Are you taller than him?
They're like the same height.
I think, yeah. I think
they're 1/4.
Yeah,
I remember you being tall.
I'm tall.
So when do you decide? Is he your first games athlete?
Yes.
Is that him on the left there?
Yes. That was
me. Yeah. Unless you're standing on 2 plates, you're 4 inches taller than him.
I think my shoes. So depending, like, if we're not wearing shoes, we're about the same height. But as soon this was the winter, so I was probably wearing like winter boots and had a little bit of a heel. So
Michelle Letandra's just a little snack. Like, you could just pick her up in like 2 bites, she'd be gone. So is he your first games athlete?
Yep. He's my only games athlete.
Well, you got this Ben dude.
Yes.
Two questions. How do you think programming? Eventually, I'm assuming you're going to get a lady. How is the programming going to differ for a lady, or coaching a lady going to be different than a man? And do you ever feel nervous, like you might throw the wrong thing out of the hot air balloon to make it go higher? Like, when your margins of improvement are like starting. I mean, you get everyone's like, all those games athletes. Everyone's just pushed up against the glass ceiling. Do you give yourself anxiety about that shit? Like, oh my God, I shouldn't have had him do burpees today. Yeah, I slowed him down with his lift. Or
no, not for things like that. It's definitely been a learning curve for both of us. Like, I'm happy that we've made it this far and that we've done the whole thing together. But I mean, I was unproven. So yes, every decision that I've taken up to this point was like not flipping a coin, because I obviously do my research, but it was like, I want to try this out. I want to test this theory out. Like, we've done 3 on, 1 off, which is the CrossFit methodology. And I was like very adamant, like, I want to try this and I want to see if this would work to make it to the games. And we've proved it. Like, I didn't want to just do like everybody else. So, but at this point, and that's where, like Jeff was saying, where we'll reconsider things, is this still the right way of doing things at the level that he is now? Or should we be modifying? Should we be changing things this season and things like that? So, nervous, no, because I think that when I, make a decision, it's an informed decision and I'm very comfortable with it. I'm also very comfortable if it doesn't work, then it doesn't work. And then you just change the plan. Like, that doesn't stress me out.
And what about a woman? Would she do the exact same thing? How would it be different if you trained a woman?
I am coaching other athletes. So Ben is one of them. I'm coaching a woman also who's looking to do masters.
Oh, another big shift. That may even be bigger than the difference between doing a man and a woman, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
an old fucker, like someone who's like 35 or something.
Yes, I'm also masters. So it's mostly, it's very much focused on communication. because I need to make sure that, you know, she's feeling more recovered, that the progressions are smoother, I would say. Like, obviously with Jeff, and because he was so young, like, it was very easy to kind of throw things at him and just like try stuff and see. And if you fail, you fail. But I know you're not going to hurt yourself and things are going to be fine. With Masters athlete, then it's definitely not the case. Like, I don't, like, you can't injure someone. I mean, you don't want to injure anybody, but I would definitely be way more careful with those age brackets. And then for the women, the only thing for me is now learning all the stats on their side, because I'm not as well versed that I am on the men's side of, like, what do you need to make it to the next step? What are the benchmarks? What do you need to progress? And same thing with, so whether it's a woman or the Masters or all these different categories, what's that 1% look like? Which is, you know, everything that I've learned with Jeff, and now I can put onto Benoit, and it's just like, I already know these things. So it's just a little bit more education on my side of how fast can we progress? Where are we heading to? Like, what's the goal? How are we going to get there? And managing all of that.
I want to ask you a question. You maybe have not thought about this, Caroline, and I don't know if it's really relevant or not, but I've been thinking about it recently. I have to think that when Greg Glassman first started doing this, and he was writing benchmark workouts or creating the original girl workouts, or whoever did that there was some degree of testing. Like, he would go in the gym and he'd say, all right, Amundsen, put on 135 on the bar. Annie Sakamoto, put on 85, and we're going to have you do 30 clean and jerks for time and see how close the times are. Oh, the girls are winning. Go up to 95. Do it. Let's see how the times compare. And they came up with this seemingly 70% number. And it seemed like back then, my guess is most of the times were comparable for similar fitness levels, male to female.
Yeah.
But I think that's changed over time. And I feel like basically the potential of women wasn't realized, compared to the potential of men, because it wasn't as common for women to lift heavy weights as men. And obviously this is not that relevant for gymnastics, except for maybe something like a deficit handstand push-up or something like that. But do you think that there's any precedent for redefining, because women have basically moved the line forward? What's comparable? Like, I feel like Grace should be 105 for women now, because their times are just a little bit better than all the men.
I think there's definitely some workouts and some type of workouts that the weights in particular should and could be readjusted. I think that, and I'm surprised that, if we take the game as a test and we see and we use that as comparable values, if the women are beating all the men in terms of time and they're doing everything, well, maybe it's not heavy enough. Or maybe, if they're sometimes, like on the handstand push-up, they'll have a little bit less reps. Well, do we need to give them less, or can they actually handle the volume? Like, you have the best athletes. Let's test these theories for real. So I definitely think that in the last 3 years, we have some data that can point to that. That's some of the workouts. I'm not saying on all of them, but for some of the workouts, there should definitely be some consideration. And if you look back at the open weights from like 2010, 2011, 2012, they don't make sense in terms of today's standards. Like, you had clean and jerks at 165 for the guys and 105 for and you're like, what? Like, so we have adjusted the weights over time. I don't see why we can't do that for the future and actually look and really research this and make sure that we're still giving the women a fair test.
Kristen Clever remarked on that in the early years. She basically just said that .com wasn't. People would ask, "What is the women's weight?" and she would say, "There is no women's weight or men's weight." The way she looked at .com was, "Hey, that's the weight, and everything else is scaled." And who's to say she's wrong? I mean, she won the CrossFit Games.
Well,
right?
Jeff is always mad at me because I'm 5'9" and I'm the same height as him. And I get to do my wall balls at 9 feet, and I get to do my box jumps at 20 inches. And so in that regards, like, I think that, and as coaches, if we look at what the stimulus and what we're trying to get out of our athletes, I have a certain idea in mind of the effort, of the intensity, of all these things, whether I'm programming in men or women's weight. Like, for me, it'll just be easier because in men's weight, because I'm used to that, doing it for Jeff. But I could just use that and then guide all my athletes, whether they're male or female, to hit that. And so as a woman, if it was 135, 95, well, if you can do it 105 in the same time, then do it at 105. Like, why would I pigeonhole you at 95? Like, why am I blocking someone's fitness at a certain weight? Because, like, yes, for comparable measures and, leaderboarding and all that fun stuff. But I mean, at some point, if the goal is fitness and health, then let's be clear on what the rules of the games are. And then let's see what, people can actually do.
Are you hating being away? You've been away from him for 3 months?
No.
Oh.
So after the games, we went to Florida on vacation with his parents. We decided to stay in Florida when we got the invite for Rogue, because we were like, we're not crossing the border and paying a bazillion COVID tests. That's stupid. So we stayed. After Rogue, we came back to Montreal to prep for Dubai. And then we left together to Dubai. And then we came back to Montreal together. But he went to go see his family in Florida to deal with some stuff there. And so that's why right now we're separate, because I have I'm trying to move and things. And the gym was supposed to be open. Gyms are closed, by the way. You're going to love this one.
Oh, man.
You want to talk COVID?
That's the way to make people healthy.
Oh, man. In the last 2 years, yeah, thank you. I appreciate it, though. In the last 2 years, how many days has your gym been closed? Do you know? More closed than open?
Way more closed.
Could you get in trouble right now if someone saw you in there? Like, can someone come look in the window and be like, what are you doing in there? You're under arrest?
No, because I'm the owner. I'm on the lease. Like, I'm not training. So I think it's more a question of providing the service. I'm not providing the service right now. So
how do you do it? How the fuck are you staying open? How are you staying alive? How do people pay their bills?
So we have been very Wonderland. We've been very lucky with our coaches, our members. I think, and CrossFit is supposed to be about the unknown and unknowable. Like, you're supposed to be fit and just, welcome any challenge. When we first closed March 2020, Atlas, that was on the Friday or Saturday that the government announced that we were closing. On the Monday, we had Zoom classes, and we had 3 classes a day until we got to reopen in June or something. And we provided the same classroom experience, but at home. We lent out some equipment. People were being coached. And so when we shut down the second time again, we're just like, all right, guys, like, we're back online, and we just switched the service, because the goal of fitness is to be fit. It's not to train in the gym. You can train in your garage. You can train outside. Like, at this point, I don't care if you're running, if you're skiing, if you're doing whatever. The goal is to be fit. So if you don't enjoy training at home, I understand that. My hope for you is that you're going to stay fit somehow. So if my service, and that's whether
you sound like a leader. You sound like a leader.
Thank you.
Okay,
but that's how we've been able to survive, is that our message was very clear. Do something, and ideally, if we can provide the service that you're looking for, that's going to help you. And luckily, we have for the members that we have. That's it.
Yeah. Are you faking it till you make it? Like, do you have to tell yourself? How do you stay in that positive mindset? How do you stay in that? Like, isn't there another part of you that's just always clamoring, like, knock this off, you fucking idiots. Let us fucking get the gym going again. Like there's no end game. There's no end game here is the problem. That's the problem. Same with New Zealand, same with Australia. Like, you see them doing these things and you're like, dude, where is your end game? Like, you can't, this isn't sustainable.
That's what's frustrating, is like the information, communication from the government and things like that. The first time we closed, it was fine, because, we all thought this was going to be temporary. The second time it closed, like, now it's, it's becoming endemic. We're going to deal with this. We're in Canada. We catch cold. Like, winters are coming every year, guys. Like, what, you're going to shut me down again next year? And at this point, I'm already planning. I'm like, well, am I going to shut down the gym from December 15th to January 15th? Like, every year. I mean, people go on vacation for 3 weeks to a month in France in the summer every year. Like, why don't I just reorganize? At that point, like, I'll just reorganize, and I'm not going to leave it up to the government to, like, play dice with my gym.
Yeah.
But this time around is very frustrating, because we're like, 92% vaccinated. Like, everybody who's been following the rules and doing the social distancing and wearing the mask and doing everything. And it's like, we're going to shut you down again because we're scared. And I'm like, well, scared of what?
Did you have any clients pass away?
No.
All right, I'll leave it alone.
Uh,
Well, thank you for being you. Thanks for doing such an amazing job. Thanks for giving people hope. Thanks for like staying positive. Thanks. I mean, it's important. Not everyone can be a curmudgeon and a bitch like me. Someone has to be like, all right, well, someone's over there complaining. I'm going to run a class here. Turn on your, computers and let's get going. Let's shake a leg. Sorry, Brian.
I
Go
mean, I've had my moments.
ahead.
Like, but
You know about going back to the Jeff thing real quick. You remind me of you're like Greg Glassman, and you're like what they teach you at the L1. They basically say, I remember when the L1 saying, hey, you should experiment. It's your body. And you
yes,
experiment on yourself and you experiment on Jeff, and you guys have had the trust to let you experiment on him. It's fascinating. Do you talk to any other super high level coaches? Do you ever text or email with Max Elhaj or Ben Bergeron, or do you ever, pick anyone
or
else's
maybe
brain?
Michelle Latendre.
Or yeah, Michelle Latendre.
which is weird because we're really close to each other. Like I kind of do my research on my own. So I've read Ben's books and, listen to the podcast and this and that. Follow Henshaw. Would love to talk to Henshaw if anybody can hook me up.
Stalk him. Just stalk his ass.
He's such a nice guy. Yeah, reach out to him.
I would love to talk to him. And that's something like, again, me as a coach, like to develop is something that for the next year, I was very much wanting to do. So talking to Max, talking to Yami, talking to other coaches. And I mean, you can look at my programming, you can look like, tell me what you think, like, what am I doing right? What would you do? Like an exchange. And I think I would hope at least, for the top level athletes and for the sport, it would be beneficial if we like get all the coaches together and let's like open our books. Let's see what other people are doing, because if we can, that will make the sport advance. Because someone somewhere is going to think of something, and if we're going to create another Super Mat or Super Tia or something, or give more competition so that doesn't happen again.
Right.
I love them, and it's super, like what they're doing is absolutely amazing, but how good is it for the development of the sport or getting people into it, or things like that. So
I mean, I think that's more or less what the idea that Max had when he started training Think Tank is. He brought in a bunch of minds that all have experience maybe in some different realms and domains, and then just put them into an environment where they could share those ideas and collaborate to just continue to move the evolution of training forward.
Yeah. I mean, I'm always open to talking to other coaches, regardless of their level of, experience or fame or whatever. I mean, we went to our local pool and we took swimming lessons from, and I mean, he's good. He's a teacher. That's what he does, is swimming. So let's do it. I'm always open to learning.
Hey, when you do open, do you have to check to see if people are vaccinated, if they're allowed to work out in your gym?
Yes. So as of September 15, we needed a vaccine passport to be able to train.
So
everybody in the gym is vaccinated, double dose.
Really? Like there's not people like me who would just tell you that so they could come work out there?
No, you need a QR code.
And
I mean, you can try and fake it, but then
wow, so is that how all the businesses are there?
So non-essential businesses, like if you go to the supermarket, you can go to the supermarket because that's essential. Like everybody needs food and, medication, pharmacies, things like that. But going to the movies is not essential. Like, I guess going to the gym, and I agree, going to the gym is not essential because you can do your squats at home and you can go fucking run outside. Like you don't need the gym to be fit. So the service, I understand in the government's mind, is not essential because you can do those things on your own or outside. It's snowing right now and cold, so it's not.
I don't want to argue with them on their own ideology, but just for the sake of argument, because it's so fucked up. 99% of the food in the supermarket isn't essential either. Matter of fact, it's the opposite.
And I agree with you on that.
Yeah, I heard it's going to be like that. And the mayor of Chicago just said, I wonder if Brian's going to lose his job. The mayor of Chicago just said that they are going to make it as difficult as possible for people who aren't vaccinated to live their life in the city of Chicago. It's fascinating to me that they would that people do that to their citizens. It's such a wow. If someone did try to come into your gym without a QR passport and they didn't have it, and then you see them like they're working out in there, what do? You just call the cops on them?
They wouldn't enter the gym because that's the first thing you do. I have to confirm your identity and scan your QR code if you're a new member. So we do consultations at the gym. Like you can't just like drop in and try out the gym. Like, no, we meet you online first. And, through Zoom, and we talk to people, and, we go through, what do they need? What do they want? Are we the right fit for them? Our gym has, every CrossFit gym is different. We all have our own culture. We all have our own vibe and community is the word I was looking for. So we make that very clear, and we make sure that the people who are coming to us, we're going to be a good match for them. So yes, by the time they, cross the door, I know that we've already verified online, and then we scan their QR code.
And the people in Canada, for the most part, are cool with this, or not cool with it. They are.
I mean, I would think the large majority, yes. I mean, we're not like, I'm not against the vaccine. I don't mind. I think it's the cost of living in society. I mean, I would love to fly in for first class and for all of first class to be the whole plane, but that's not how life works. So like,
right.
If I'm sitting next to someone, then I want to make sure that, I took my precautions to protect you, and you're doing the same. So I think that, we're aware that we're doing this for the greater good and for, the benefits of everyone. But then what the government does is another thing.
Oh,
say it.
No,
What do you think, Savon?
No, here's the thing. I appreciate you sharing this all with me. I really do. And as my mom reminds me that your guests on your show, you need to take care of them. You're your guests on the show. I'm not here to change anyone's mind or to beat anyone up or to talk shit to anyone. I just see it so differently than that. I just don't see, they say on one hand, theoretically, yes, if everyone took the vaccine, it is for the greater good. Everyone gets healthy, everyone's protected, and it stops spreading, and everyone gets to keep living their life. But I just don't see the vaccine as working that way. I don't see any proof of it. I don't see the science behind it, and I just see it as like, actually it's done worse.
But let's even just pause there. If that is something that we want to agree is going to be good for everyone, can we not? And hopefully we're talking about everyone's health. Then can we not also agree that it would probably be good for everyone's health if the government decided to make some changes to what was available to buy in grocery stores, or what restaurants were open while everything else was closed?
Right. Right. There's no consistency. Right. Is that what you're saying? There's no consistency.
Yeah. If you think that masks and vaccines are going to push forward the health of a population, but you're not going to be a proponent of pushing forth more regular exercise and better nutrition for everyone also, then I can't get behind it. If they were pushing all of those things forward and saying, hey guys, this is really affecting us as a community, a country, whatever, because we're not healthy collectively. We need to improve our diets. We need to improve our lifestyle choices in terms of sleep and exercise. And if we do those things over time, then we won't need things like masks and vaccines, because as a collective community, our immune system will be stronger and more capable of dealing with viruses like this that are going to come along. But there's been zero of that on a massive global level. And so it's difficult for me to get behind the other part of it.
Well, we're at the 2-year point where no one can say we couldn't have changed fast enough. By now, every single person on the planet could have taken the precautions to save their own life without the vaccine, based on the stats of who's dying and who's not dying.
Well, I mean, there's a percentage that would have died because they weren't healthy enough to begin with to fend it off. But for the
we can turn it off
people
now. But I agree with you. But let's say we would have said, hey guys, for a year we're going to protect all the fat and old fuckers, and everyone's going to comply with this. But after a year, but on the other hand, everyone has to do this for the next year, because after a year we're opening the floodgates. We're going to let the virus run free. We're going to let all our kids get it so they can be protected for life. I mean, we have a narrative in this country that people think that they're doing this to protect kids. The amount of kids that have died in the United States is statistical noise. There's no proof. There's no data outside.
And there's nothing that will be able
Yeah.
to measure the psychological effect that it has on kids for their lifetime.
Yeah.
But
I think it's a shame because, as you said, we're going to be 2 years in, like for us, in Quebec and Canada, March 15th is like the date that everybody's going to remember. And for me, I feel like we're still managing every crisis instead of leading. Like, what are the changes that we all need to start implementing personally as a society? And then let's work towards that. Because again, like I said, like people were catching the cold and people were dying of pneumonia before all of this was happening. We're sacrificing a lot of the adult population right now with mental health and all these things for COVID. Is it still worth it? Can we ask those questions? And can we have that discussion of, are we still willing to shut down economies? Like, this is affecting my life. This is affecting me, and it's affecting my members. It's affecting individual people. And we're just like broad stroking these decisions without having a conversation of, is this really, like, if I'm doing this for the greater good, if I'm getting the vaccine for the greater good, then are your decisions also for the greater good? Or are you just managing because you're afraid, or, you know, the next election or whatever? I think that I wish and I would want that leaders would get together and kind of make a plan for the next 5 years and be like, hey, this is the goal, so that we can prevent this instead of treating this all the time. Like, we keep treating what's happening instead of trying to prevent it. And that takes long-term planning.
And along those same lines of what you just said, Carolyn, there's an affiliate owner yesterday who posted a picture of her 2 kids, probably 7 and 9 years old, and she's rewarded them with these giant donuts because they went and got the vaccine. And
maybe it's the first time they have donuts.
She's right. She's a nurse, and he's a type 1 diabetic. And they're rewarding their kids they gave their kids a vaccine to protect them against the disease that only gets people who eats donuts, and they rewarded their kids with donuts. It's like, I just can't do it.
But that type of change is going to take years and decades. That's education. Like, my first degree is Bachelor's of Education. Like, that's what I went into. And I've, you know,
but we're going the wrong direction.
Yes, but and that's why I'm saying, like, we keep managing these things instead of taking the time to say, hey, we need to take 5 years to re-educate, to change what is a good diet, what kind of exercise do you want to do? Like, I was learning how to play basketball and volleyball, and that's great in phys ed, but like, how often do I do that nowadays? No, I'm in the gym. Like, what do you actually need to do in order to be healthy? Like, I'm super lucky because I went
and it's not
pre-reform, and I had a cooking class when I was in high school. You don't see that anymore. So we expect, like, where are kids, where are people getting that information? You get bombarded by information from anywhere and everywhere, but how do you decipher what's the good information? So are schools going to do it? Are we relying on parents to do it? Like, whatever it is. But I think that right now, like, this is a global pandemic. Like, can we get the leaders to lead us into and agree on? Like, we're in Dubai. No. I need another plug. Like, can we just agree we can have one plug for the whole world? Like, let's decide on the whole thing that we want.
Like that.
That's the thing, right? Like, we all have our own little, like, this is the best way to do. Let's decide what the best is, and let's all do it, and let's all get on board.
Yeah, I just this is for 99% of all the sicknesses on the planet, there is no cure. And so anytime I hear the word cure, I hear propaganda. You're not going to add something to yourself that's going to make you better. What you have to do is stop poisoning yourself. They've known that since the 30s. They know that with cancer. Anytime I hear about cancer research, I want to fucking vomit on myself. It's like, it's a waste of billions and trillions of dollars, as opposed to buying everyone on the planet an assault bike and being like, it's now in your hand. And some people might think that's crazy. You think spending trillions and billions of dollars barking up the tree for cancer research, and every year only more people are dying of cancer? Mm-hmm. It's like it's the same thing of why I'm not a Democrat anymore. All the cities that are run by Democrats have all the worst crime. All the people that they claim they're worried about have the highest poverty levels in those cities. Okay, I did that for 40 years. I want to try something different. And it's like, yeah, we've been trying cancer research for, and I feel the same way about this. I feel the same way about this injection. But anyway.
Back to CrossFit.
Yes. Oh, here we go. Okay, this guy's from British Columbia. Let's see what he's got to say. Let's see what he's got to say. It's amazing that people can still call in. Hello, Mr. Canada.
Siobhan, how's it going?
That's going pretty good. I'm
Carolyn,
staying
you're
calm.
on the
I'm
East
staying
Coast.
calm.
I'm on the West.
I'm trying to stay calm. Say that again.
I'm on the West Coast. Carolyn's on the East.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Things are a little different. Things are a little different over here.
You
The
guys,
gyms are actually staying open because we're not complying.
So,
Tell
but
me.
you were ordered to close, weren't you?
Some are, but you know what? Some of us out here don't think the vaccine actually works, and we're staying open because food courts are full of people eating fast food, and this whole thing is bullshit. It's not about health.
Of
but
course.
even if it,
If it was about health, they would actually show us it's about health. It's not. The vaccine's not working.
but even
My
if it
entire
did
family
work,
has
if it
COVID,
did
and
work,
they
then
all-
you could
and they all
stay
have
open.
vaccines.
If it did work, you could stay open.
True, but it's not.
Right.
My whole family's they're all double jabbed. They all have COVID right now.
It
Did
doesn't
you-
prevent you from getting COVID. It just ideally diminishes the symptoms and you don't have to go to the hospital.
Correct.
They're all sick though. They're all sick at home. Like we're all being forced to be vaccinated, and it's not. And you're saying on here, Carolyn, and I'm not trying to be argumentative. First off, I just want just conversation. But you're saying on here that you're protecting other people, and you're not, because everybody's getting it. It's passing through people with the vaccine, and the new stipulation is that if you're vaccinated and boosted, you don't even have to quarantine. If you're double vaxxed, you have to quarantine for 5 days, and if you're unvaxxed, you have to quarantine for 10 to 14. So tell me how that works.
That might be a BC thing. I don't think it's the same here, but
That's
what I'm
actually a
saying,
CDC,
and
that's
it's
a
not
CDC thing.
a CDC. So in the States,
It's a CDC thing. Look it up. It's brand new today. CDC. So you don't even have to quarantine now if you're double jabbed and boosted. Tell me how that's right. Like there's no logic behind the fact that the vaccine is working, or the fact that you have a vax pass at your gym. Like it makes no, not just your gym, Carolyn. I'm not pointing a finger at you, but like these gyms should not have vax passes. And like we were in the mall yesterday, and I could not believe the hundreds of people sitting in a food court, stuffing their faces A&W and McDonald's, and we're not allowed to go to the gym. Like it's just bananas how they're trying to make it seem like it's about health when it's just not about health at all.
I definitely think that they're not doing a good, and by they I mean like the government and people in charge, they're not doing a good job of communicating why and giving people enough information. Because I agree, it's if it was for health reasons, why are you closing gyms? Why are you not allowing people to take actions on the things that would actually improve their health? So I don't think that is it. In terms of the health system that's overloaded, okay, we need to make certain sacrifices to make sure that our health system can keep working optimally, or as best as it can. That'd be one thing. I don't think that the reasons that we are given right now, especially in Canada, are well articulated and justified. That's one thing. When I talk about the greater good in the vaccine, the virus is there and the virus is going to spread. I'm just saying I debated because I'm turning 40 next month. And when the first vaccine first came out, I was worried for my own reproductive health. And I had to go through that process of, am I going to get it? Am I not going to get it? Even if it's a chance in a billion, I mean, do you want to take that chance to win at the lottery? Yes. To get something that you're not looking for? No. So, but at the same time, it will diminish the symptoms if I were to get it. I do want to make sure that I am healthier or that my immune system is better equipped in order to fight the vaccine, in order to fight COVID. So if the vaccine is going to help for that, I have, my mom doesn't have the best of health. So I definitely want to make sure that if I'm vaccinated and therefore less viral, like the viral load is not as high and I don't have as many chances of transmitting it to her, then I'm willing to do that. But I think that's a personal decision.
Carolyn.
And what's, I think, a shame is that we've all been pushed and not given the time to go through those, inner dialogue for that particular choice.
Carolyn, but that's where you're wrong. The viral load is still there. Like I have not been vaccinated, and all of my family has been. They all have it, and they're actually more sick than me.
Well,
So
there could be so many variables.
There is a lot of factors.
Why that is. So to only point at the vaccine is one thing. But I think there's more variables as to who's going to get it and why and how sick we're all going to be.
Sevan, can we move on, please?
yes. Caller, thank you very much. We will beat up Carolyn without you. Thank you for getting her down. And Brian and I will now.
No, that wasn't my point.
No, I
Thanks,
know.
guys.
No, I'm joking. Dude, she's running a small business in one of the most fucked up social, political
I want her
environments
gym
ever.
open, man.
Yeah. Thanks for calling, though. Is any part of you like, fuck Jeff, just go? We work so hard, just get in there and do Wodapalooza, quit being a pussy.
So I wanted him to do all three.
Yeah.
Just
wow.
this year, just because of how they lined up.
Yeah.
But
go get some money.
Well, he needs to win to make money, which he's
Right.
not. So, but no. So we all saw it on social media. After Rogue, a lot of the athletes got sick. Jeff got sick, so that kind of derailed some of our plans to lead up to.
What did they get sick with? Were you at Rogue? What happened there? Was there were there allergies? What was it?
Gastroenteritis. Like basically, they're all
shit in their pants.
Yeah, both. Yeah.
Oh, that's what Samuel got?
Sam wasn't there. Samuel Cournoyer, he wasn't at Rogue.
Oh, who was it? Houdet? Who was it?
Houdet pulled out saying he was sick. So I don't know what he had and if he's the one that gave it to everybody. But I think BKG posted at and if I'm saying this wrong, you guys can correct me. But I think BKG had it. Alex was sick, Vigneault. But we're not sure if that was food or if it was that. Who else? Caroline Privot.
Oh yeah.
He was sick. Was Emily sick? Can't remember, but I know on social media, like the week, like the 10 days post Rogue, if you go back and look, like a lot of athletes are like, feeling better now. And it's like, like, what did you have? So Jeff was
there was a bug. Okay.
There was something. And so that derailed, like it was already a quick turnaround between Rogue and Dubai. That did not help. And so after Dubai, and just like even before Dubai, when we were starting to calculate like the dates and what we had to do and this and that, it was like, well, do we want to focus on Wodapalooza or do we want to focus on, Games 2022? So I think Rogue gave us enough information. Dubai was good practice, and I'm tired of practicing and gathering information. I want to execute. So I just want to get to the 2022 season and be full steam ahead.
Will Alex podium at the games this year?
Alex?
Sorry. Will
Jeff?
Adler podium at the games this year? Will Jeff podium at the games this year?
My goal has always been for Jeff to podium to win the games. That has always been my goal. And I've been very open about that since the beginning. My goal was for him to win the Open. My goal was for him to make it to the games. My goal was for him to win the games. Now, whether or not that's, doable is.
How early on did you guys set those goals?
I did. He didn't. And I think you
saw him early on in like 2016 and you're like, this guy's got potential.
I saw him do burpees and I thought he had potential. That was like little Jeff moment.
Why? What did you see in the burpees? They're just so smooth. They're fluid and fast and strong and explosive.
Yes.
All that. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. There was just, I enjoy watching, I enjoy coaching. I enjoy watching people move. And there was just something when he was doing, let's see, is he going to move? Oh, that's just still, but yes, he still looks good. There was just something in his movement and a little bit like he mentions, like the clean and jerk, like things just came natural. naturally to him. Like he moved, like some people are good at math. Like he just moved well in certain aspects. I was like, like there's potential there. Let's see. I have always been very goal oriented. So I was the one setting those goals. Like, okay, we need to make it to regionals by this year. We need to, like, if I want you to win the games, we need to win the Open, right? Because past games winners won the Open. So just looking a little bit on statistics and making sure, like, well, if we hit those marks, then that's a good indication that we can pursue the next goal, right? If we can make it to regionals, then, you know, you're good enough. And ideally, we're able to make it to the game. So those goals were always stepping stones. He was more along for the ride and along for the experience.
I just love this explanation.
What?
Just that he's along. I mean, you're a scientist. You're a fucking scientist, and this guy's your lab rat. I fucking love it.
Yeah. At first, and Brian can attest to this, even for me, there's definitely been a shift in the last 6 months in his personality and how he talks about his events and how he talks about his finishes and what he wants and what he now starts to admit and his goals. Like, I mean, you can talk to Bill and Chase, like they want to shake him and be like, you know, like want this a little bit more. And it's just, Jeff has always been kind of like, we'll see. And basically like my standing will define me. And now he's like, no, I want to set those goals and go ahead. So I don't think
he tastes it. He tastes it.
Yeah. So
I mean, we can see it as fans of the sport. We can see like, oh, this guy's now as a real threat to the podium. Brian, this is supposed to be a 1 hour podcast. We're now at 2 hours.
Are there still people? I can't see anybody.
So yeah, over 200. It's been quite a full house this morning.
Thank you for staying for me.
Full house. Brian, do you have anything else you would like to?
No, I'm excited to see you in Florida. I'm really excited to see Benoit, and he's kind of been peripherally on my radar as a guy who might be able to break through. But this would be a good opportunity for him, I think, to pit himself against some of the better athletes and bigger field of good athletes that we have.
And final question: are you taking on any more athletes? If someone wanted to take you, have you as their coach, where and how would they contact you?
They can reach me on Instagram, I guess would be the easiest way.
Okay. And
am I taking on athletes? Yes and no. I definitely don't want to. I want to be able to invest. Colton. I definitely want to be able to invest my time and energy into any new athletes that I take on, but I cannot let that pull too much out of the focus of of the plan and that we're set in motion with Jeff. So it's kind of like, as a coach, for me, it's a balancing act. And again, it's regardless of people's levels. Like if you want to make it to the games in 5 years and you're committed to that and you want to talk to me, like go ahead. I've also always encouraged people to look at a local coach. Like I was a local coach with Jeff. Like Jeff took a chance on me. And if you have someone who's willing to put as much energy and dedication, like I've learned everything along the way, anybody can do that. I think it's just a question of wanting to. And if, you want to be the next best coach, big coach, whatever, and, make it to the games, or you have that, I was very lucky to have found Jeff, because I had met other athletes in the past in 2014 and 15 who had mentioned that they, back then wanted to make it to regionals was the big goal. But things would happen in their life and, we never made it that far and it was never consistent. Jeff stuck with me and we were able to prove it. And I think that there's enough people in the community, there's enough coaching, there's enough expertise out there. Like I'm always reading, always listening to podcasts, like reading everything. There's enough out there to make coaches great. And if coaches are great, athletes can be great. Like it's all about trust.
And if you are a great coach and you're looking for a job, you should go to barbelljobs.com. Did I mention that? Yep, right there. All right. Thanks, Carolyn.
Thank you for your time, guys.
Brian, I guess thank you to you too. Sevon, thank you to me.
Okay.
And